conference is broadcasted live. Thank you for coming and welcome to Cannes International Emigration and Luxury Property Expo and to Business Investment and Residency Citizenship by Investment Conference. This conference is dedicated to immigration and to citizenship and residency programs all over the world. We have more than 30 countries presenting here on the Expo, and we have some keynote speakers from government officials, from international and worldwide known companies. So thank you for watching us, thank you for coming. And I would like to start with a short presentation of our tool. We, as an organizers of Cannes International Immigration and Luxury Property Expo, will soon launch a SPIN, System for Professional Immigration Networking, which may be a useful product for all immigration professionals all over the world, both international immigration companies and agents who would like to have an opportunity to contact with each other, to have an opportunity to network. And what is actually SPIN? SPIN is a networking platform where immigration professionals with direct contacts, so it's a database, are presented from different countries from all over the world. And companies may interact with each other inside this platform, may see the contacts of each other, may send messages. Also, they see all the programs, immigration programs each company represents, their employees. Also, it's a digest, so each company who has a profile inside SPIN may send newsletters, send news and digests inside to inform their partners about their new programs, their new proposals, and so on. Also, SPIN, it's a B2B platform with a touch of digital marketing, social media marketing, also business networking. And it's more than just a website. It's a useful tool which gives you a lot of opportunities. But what is really important, it's a database. So not a tool itself, but a database we have. We worked 2 years to establish this platform. It was really hard work of our international team. And we have a lot of agents all over the world inside this platform already. So these are immigration companies from different countries, and each company has direct contacts. So joining SPIN, you gain access to this platform with this huge database, and you may see everyone inside. Maybe some of you were using our online scheduling appointment tool for the Expo. It's a very, very short version of SPIN, because there you only had an opportunity to see the short information and schedule appointments, while SPIN will let you interact with each other, see contacts, send newsletters, send digests, attend different events worldwide, globally, through like conferences like this, conferences broadcasting live. So it's a networking tool for all immigration professionals, and for now we do not see any tool similar to this. So for immigration industry, there is no platform like this, because for property developers, for example, some tools existing, but for immigration professionals, there is no network opportunities, and we are launching this program for the first time. So everyone who would like to join SPIN, first of all, I invite you to our booth on the Expo. My colleagues will consult you about everything. You will have to fill in the short form, and they will tell you about the opportunities because we have 2 different sides of this platform. First, it's for immigration companies, and the other one for agents and buyers. So there is also an opportunity to access direct clients, and for each type of company, we have different proposals. So everyone is invited. Please come to our booth to learn more, and also please visit our website. I will show you the contacts. So it's spinnetworking.com. There is no so much information there because it's not the platform itself, it's just the promo site. But once you get the access to the platform, you will see what is going on. Everyone who would like to join, you will be able to gain access by January 2018. So it's the beginning of the next year, because since now we have a big database, and after a couple of months, it will be launched globally for everyone. So now it's a closed network, and it will be opened in January 2018. So with the spin, I'm finished, and I would like to announce our first keynote speaker, Hakan Kortalek from Henley & Partners. Henley & Partners, it's a global immigration company which represents a lot of countries. So I advise everyone who is interested in immigration, basically to every country, to visit the booth of Henley & Partners, because they are high professionals in this sphere. So I will let Hakan to do the presentation. Yes, please. Yeah, this one. This is to switch, and this is go back.
I'll wait till it sets up, I think. Okay. Well, thank you very much for joining us. It was a few minutes ago, it was rather empty. It's now full. Thank you very much. Hopefully we won't bore you a lot, but
So, good morning. Hi. So, good morning. Today, you already heard a lot about different options for the citizenship by investment. However, here I am to present Maltese option of the citizenship or residency by investment. So, it does not work. I guess. So many people would wonder where Malta is. Obviously, because Malta is a small island close by to Sicily that even if you put a Google drop on it, it will cover it completely. It's just 316 square kilometers, with the population a little bit over than 430,000. Malta is also well known for some people as a place which attracts Hollywood cinematographers. We have different movies which were filmed in Malta, such as TV serial Game of Thrones, some blockbusters like World War Z and By the Sea, Troy, and others. However, apart of all this, Malta is also part of 26 European countries who are party to Schengen Agreement, meaning that once you get Maltese residency, you will be allowed to travel visa-free within Schengen countries. Furthermore, in 2004, Malta became a part of European Union, which also means that once you get Maltese citizenship, you become also a European citizen. So this is how a quick look on the current members of Schengen Agreement and Schengen area. As you can see, not only EU member states are members, some countries like Switzerland, Liechtenstein, Norway, or Ireland, who are not EU countries, also are party to this agreement, meaning that with Maltese residency, you will be able to travel visa-free to these countries. As was well mentioned, Brexit now is everywhere, and Malta was a colony of English Empire at that time for more than 100 years. And we have a very, very close ties with UK, and I think more than 50 bilateral agreements in place. So what will happen when UK will leave European Union? For Malta, basically nothing will change, because we have several agreements in social sphere, healthcare, education, etc. Complementary to Maltese membership in European Union is Maltese membership in Commonwealth country, which gives it a bigger exposure to the world. So, but here we are talking not about only Malta and how great is it, it's about some economic citizenship. So what is this? Why people would like to get it? Why they will opt for Malta? I will try to explain it in more details in my next slides. So the first program which I would like to talk to you, it's a Maltese Citizenship by Investment program. Basically, the benefits, the program is European citizenship by investment in Malta within just 12 months. The benefits of these programs is that the approval will be given within 4 months after submission of the application. The fast-track Schengen residency, what does it mean? The person who decides apply for Maltese passport first will receive a Maltese residency card and will be able to enjoy free travel within Schengen countries for the whole period of due diligence. Then it's European approved program. Basically, Maltese citizenship by investment is probably the first program which been approved by European Union. And the reason why is that it requires not only investment, but also to show a connection to Malta. Then, once you become a citizen, the person will have a visa-free access to to 168 countries, which are including US, because Malta has a visa waiver system with US, also UK and Canada. Furthermore, there would be free public healthcare and education, which is quite a high standard because we inherited our educational and health care system from UK. And obviously that the passport and citizenship could be passed through generations. So if you today acquire your citizenship by investment, your children and the children of your children will become Maltese automatically. So what is the eligibility criteria? So the white family eligibility, and almost all nationalities are accepted. Then once your application is approved, there would be requirements, some investments, such as contribution of 650,000 plus. I will explain it a little bit in more details. Investment in bonds, which should be kept for 5 years, purchase or rent of the property, and to show the genuine connection with Malta. It will lead you to your Maltese passport. So who can be the main applicant? Main applicant can be a person who is over 18 years old, and they can add their spousal life partner. So if you can prove that you are in long-standing relationships, the person will be accepted as your life partner. The children, which are below 18, the adult and married children until 26 years of age, who are financially dependent on the main applicant. Then there is parents and grandparents who are older than 55 and financially dependent on the main applicant. With respect to the nationalities, the law restricts only in relation to nationals from Afghanistan, North Korea, and Iran. However, as you can see, the world is changing dramatically. The recent travel bans, which were implemented by US president, affected programs slightly as well. So for the time being, I think 6 or 7 countries which Trump banned from US currently cannot apply for the citizenship by investment in Malta. With respect to the contribution, the unrefundable contribution of 650,000 plus will be paid to National Social and Development Fund in Malta, which aim to improve health infrastructure, housing, education. This payment of 650,000 plus will need to be executed only when due diligence is finalized and when applicant is sure that the passport is only subject to investment conditions. So for the spouse and the young children, it would be 25 additional thousand for each, and unmarried children plus grandparents or parents would be 50,000 on top of 650. The due diligence fees are also applied. It's all depend on the family composition, that once citizenship application is submitted to the authorities, they will raise an invoice for the due diligence fees. So this is the only big payment which should be made before application is approved. With respect to the property, the requirement in the law is that person can either buy property for minimum 350,000 or rent a property for minimum 16,000 a year. So the property also should be purchased after application is approved, so there is no financial risk, and it should be kept for 5 years. Basically, the letting or subletting is not allowed. So some of our clients are choosing to rent property in the beginning. However, Maltese property market is currently booming, so each property is actually increasing in price year by year. Some of our clients choosing to purchase it as an investment for 5 years and then just sell it on the profit. So with respect to the government bonds, so additionally, the applicant, after the approval, needs to invest 150,000 into the government bonds. This bond should be approved. Obviously, we usually guide our clients through. Recently, there were amendments in the law, which we didn't manage to include in the presentation, but not only government-issued bonds now are applicable, also the securities which are listed on the Maltese Stock Exchange could be purchased as a part of the fulfillment of this program requirement. The bonds should be also kept for 5 years and need to be purchased, as I said, after the approval. So the residency status, this is the main connection, like main requirement which European Union used to approve this program. What does it mean? That you cannot do only investment, as like in some Caribbean countries, which are like an easy way out. You also need to show that you connected to the country, that you like becoming a citizenship with the purpose. So first, your connection, it would be your Schengen residency card, which will be issued for 18 months. And Basically, then the idea was that the person will actually spend in Malta some time, as more is better. However, the government department as well understands that no one in right mind will leave the business, leave children, family, and move completely to Malta for 1 year when the due diligence is going on. So for this purpose, we together with the authorities will develop the compensation of lack of presence. So the person will still need to spend within 12 months a minimum number of days, like from 15 to 20. Then the absence can be fulfilled by joining some social clubs or memberships, which we assist client all the way through, probably some philanthropic donations to the approved government charities, perhaps setting up the business or getting the property, which you will need to have anyway, because it's a part of the program requirements. So this is how look processing a timeline. So the residency card will be issued within 1 to 3 weeks from the submission of the application. Then our legal team will be working on the preparation of the citizenship application. Usually we aim to submit it within 2 to 3 weeks to the authorities. As soon as the application is submitted, the due diligence invoice is raised and the actual due diligence started. It takes approximately 4 months for authorities to decide whether the application is going to be approved or not. As soon as this application is approved, the investment requirements should be fulfilled, and the applicant will have 4 months to do so. And altogether, within 1 year, will lead a person to obtaining Maltese citizenship. This is how the cash flow plan look like, so it's better so you can understand better when the most investment requirements are kicks in after the approval, which makes program very, very safe in terms of financing. So some of the fees would need to be paid upon issuance of the residency card, some due diligence fees upon submission, but all main investments should be done only after the approval. So we have a wide range of clients, some of them, of course, coming now from Russia and CIS countries. However, we feel the interest from Middle East, from Asian countries, some from Africa. We also have clients from US and Canada. Most of them are doing it for tax purposes, of course. And we even have some European clients, like from France, who also would like to obtain Maltese citizenship due to tax benefits. So program has a quota. It's 1,800 families, which are now approximately only 400 families left. This year, budget speech announced that the second version of the program will start once this current version is finished. We do not expect many changes. However, the government currently working on improvement of the program. It's very important to note in respect to the tax treatment of the new citizens. Malta adopted the tax system from the UK. So even though our laws look like continental, however, our tax law is proper common law, meaning Malta do not tax a person according to the citizenship. The main criteria is whether person domicile or resident in Malta. The new citizens who get passport through this program will never be the domiciles, because you would need to show the center of your life interest. And we haven't had the case when somebody managed to do so, because it required a lot of amount of time and effort. And some of them opt to be only as a resident. Why? Because when you're resident, not domicile, your worldwide income is not taxed in Malta. So everything what is left outside Malta will never be taxed by Maltese authorities. Only the income which is remitted to Malta in any point will be taxed. However, with the clever tax planning, we can ensure that all income remitted to Malta will be tax-free. So this is a short summary of the program. So once you get the property, you pay the contribution, purchase the bonds, all your family within 12 months will receive a Maltese passport. If you are not confident with the passport program, there is always a residency option, because some jurisdictions, as we may know, not allow to get a double citizenship. So Maltese residency program was introduced in 2015. It calls Maltese visa and residency program, which we call Maltese Golden Visa. Basically, it's a European Schengen permanent residency in Malta for life, for all the family, within just 3 months. So the benefits of the program is that you get the permanent residency within only 3 months from the submission of the application. You will receive the certificate for life and the card, residency card for 5 years. It will allow you to travel visa-free within Schengen countries. It will not have any effect on your tax status unless you decided to become a tax resident in Malta, and your family members can be included. And the most important is that before or after receiving your residency card, there is no minimum presence is required. So eligibility criteria for this program is very similar to citizenship one. So non-EU families who are self-sufficient can apply. There would be contribution of 30,000 and 5,000 additionally for each adult dependent. This would be residency or purchase of the property for 5 years, however, with the lower price. And the investment in government bonds for 5 years of 250,000. Basically the same. It's important to note that non-EU nationals, only non-EU nationals can apply for this program. If you compare it to Maltese citizenship, for Maltese citizenship, basically anyone can apply. So who can be included? Obviously, the main applicant, spouse or partner in the durable and stable relationship, minor children, unmarried dependent children, and there is no certain age, as long as the child is financially dependent, even if this child is already 35, can be included to the program. So the seriously ill or disabled children, parents and grandparents of the main applicant who is financially dependent on him. The purchase of the apartment is a little bit different, as well as a rent. Here we have zones, because depending on the zone, the price will be different. For example, Gozo and south of Malta, it would be 270,000, and the same time as the rest of Malta is 320,000. The reason why? Because they would government try to attract investors and develop maybe not as popular regions of Malta. The property should be kept for 5 years, and only beneficiaries and their dependents will allow to use this property. So not letting or subletting is allowed. So what the tax regime for this program, basically, again, it's would be resident non-domicile regime, so source and remittance basis of taxation. It means that there won't be worldwide tax at all. However, if the income remitted to Malta, it will be taxed on the progressive rate. Also, once you become the resident in Malta, you are eligible to apply for the tax residency, and you can use it for some double taxation treaties, which Malta has a wide network, and get use of it for your own purposes or for your business. So this is how the timeline look like. So basically, within 2 to 3 weeks from the engagement, we're trying to file the application to the authorities. Then you pay 5,500 of the initial fees, which are counted as due diligence fees, and deducted from the main contribution. Within 3 months, authority approved the application, and then it's again up to you to fulfill your financing obligations in order to receive the Maltese residency card. As you can see, this program is also quite safe because there is no major financial obligation until application is approved. So this is how the cash flow plan looked like. So only 5,500 in initial stage upon submission, and the rest of investment should be done only after application is approved. So this is a short summary. As you can see, that within 3 months, with the investment in bonds and some contribution, the person will receive a certificate of permanent residence for life and will be able to travel to Schengen countries visa-free. Very important to note, it's to speak about tax, because it was said previously, current developments in the tax law within European Union, implementation of new tax directive, CRS, and others one should think about tax planning before moving to one or another jurisdictions. As I said, from the personal level of taxation, it's very simple because Malta will only tax you worldwide if you're domicile and a resident, which is most of the cases, and only people who born in Malta, lived in Malta their whole life. In this case, they become domicile and resident. For the rest of the world, it's much easier. They won't be taxed worldwide because they won't become domicile in Malta. It only will be either resident or not. So with the effective tax planning, you can drop your tax rate in Malta to 0. So with respect to the tax benefits, we inherited our tax system from the UK, but Malta moved a little bit further, and this is how our managing partner calls it happy slide, taxes which Malta does not have. So there is no withholding taxes on dividends, interest, or royalties. There is no entry or exit taxes, no exchange controls, no capitalization rules, no capital or wealth taxes, no dividend taxes, no transfer pricing taxes, no control foreign company rules. To show you a better example, I prepared for you a couple of slides with several structures in Malta in respect to the holding and operation company. So if the holding company is located in Malta and receive a dividend from the subsidiary of 100K, and there won't be no entry taxes, the dividend then can move up to the shareholder company in a different jurisdiction, again, with no 0 taxes. So basically, as you can see, there is no taxes on dividends from the subsidiaries in Malta, no taxes on capital gains or sale of shares in subsidiaries, no withholding taxes on distributed dividends, and completely 0% tax flow through on dividends. With respect to the trading structures, it's a little bit different, but also interesting that operating company, which is incorporated in Malta, and receiving income of, let's say, 100K, would pay taxes at the flat rate of 35%, because Maltese corporate rate is quite high to be able to comply with European jurisdiction and not to be considered as an offshore country. So 35% is a very high rate of tax company pays to the government. However, in our law, there is a mechanism of tax refund to the shareholder. So in this case, once company pays 35% of tax, shareholder can file the declaration to the authorities and get refund of 30%. In this case, it's lower the actual tax rate to 5%. So just to explain it one time more, the company pays 35% tax to the tax authorities, and shareholder receives 30% back. In this case, the total income would be 95K. So yes, so there is a high corporate tax rate of 35%. However, the refund of the shareholder could be up to 30%. It's compliant with the EU legislation, so it doesn't make Malta an offshore country, and you can benefit easily from EU trade agreements, even implementing this system. So trading structures to which this refund applies could be from financial regulated services like fund management, fund admin, bank, financial, some investment services. It could be gaming, which we see a lot now, gaming companies establishing themselves in Malta. It could be unregulated business such as trading, consulting, etc. And here I want to show you another type of structure when the shareholder is a holding company and the main shareholder is a person. So in this case, two companies are incorporated in Malta. Operational company receives the income of 100K, pays tax to the government department. The holding company, which is also incorporated in Malta, is eligible to file a request of tax refund and receive within 14 to 21 days a 30% back. And in this case, the dividends which will be sent to shareholder will be full 95K. So in this structure shows that Maltese tax system developed different mechanisms in order to attract corporate structures establish themselves in Malta. So we are, as a Ketkuti Kauki advocates, so we are a law firm which based not only in Malta, but also in Cyprus. We actually not just advisors, we are lawyers, so we take everything from the legal perspective. We are tax advisors because we understand that in nowadays world, it's very important to think about your tax planning before you move to any of the new jurisdictions. We also business advisors in Malta, Cyprus, and Hong Kong, London, or Zurich, where we have our offices. We license trustees and fiduciaries in Malta, and we also guide our clients with real estate. We help them to search for the property, and we do the legal expertise as well. So thank you very much for your attention. If you have any questions, we have booth number 1 and would be happy to reply.
Okay, thank you. It was Marina Belchiko from Ketkuti Kauci Advocates. And now I'm glad to present our next speaker from CMB Regional Centers. It's a global project specialist, Adam Arnett. Please, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you all for attending this presentation. I'm Adam from CMB Regional Centers. We are an EB5 regional center for the EB5 investment program to the United States of America. As you can see up here, we're celebrating our 20th anniversary. We received our first authorization as the EB5 regional center in 1997. The EB5 program. The EB5 program was established in 1990. It's an immigrant program to the United States of America. It uses forward investment to spur job creation to stimulate the U.S. economy. It's $1 million investment, but if it's in a TEA, which is a targeted employment area, it's a $500,000 investment. And the investment must create 10 new American jobs. What does the EB5 participant want? The first and main goal is a permanent green card to the United States of America. And we believe this is the biggest goal for the EB5 investor. The second goal is return of the original capital, the safety of investment. And as I mentioned, CMB has done this for about 20 years. We've done over 62 different EB5 partnerships. And we just, in our 20th anniversary, May of this year, we returned our capital of our 7th partnership that came to maturity. The final goal is return on investment. You're not going to get a big return on the EB5 investment, and that's not the goal. The goal is to achieve permanent green card, and the goal is to then hopefully safety of investment. Here's the immigration process. So you start deciding what you want to do, look into what regional center you want to work with, a certain project that catches your eye. You decide to invest. You work with the immigration attorney, you file your I-526 petition. That takes about 19 months. When you receive your I-526 approval, you'll wait for your consulate interview when a visa becomes available, and that's usually about 5 to 7 months, depending on where you are at in the world. When you have your consular interview, you have 180 days to immigrate to the United States. And once you're there, you'll be there for 2 years in your conditional residency. When the next stage comes around, which is the I-829 approval, and at that stage, it's proving that everything you thought that you said was going to happen, happened. You created the jobs. The money was at risk. And at that point, you get permanent green card to the United States of America. To date, the U.S. CIS processing times, that's about a little over plus or minus 6 years for the majority of the world. Chinese individuals with so much demand in this program, it's a backlog. It's a little bit longer than that. So here's the cycle of a CMB partnership. As you can see here, these are all the partnerships. These are all the partnerships that have received I-526 approvals. And then to come around here, these are all the partnerships that have I-829 approvals. Every project that has been adjudicated from the USCIS CMB project has had 100% success rate at the project, 100% success rate at the I-526 and the I-829 approval stage. And as I mentioned earlier, in May of this year, we repaid our Group 5 partnership. So that gives us 7 partnerships that we've repaid to date, with more to come. To celebrate our 20th anniversary and the repayment of capital for those first 7 partnerships, we decided to host an event. We invited every partner, every limited partner from our first 7 partnerships to Las Vegas at the Bellagio, and we hosted an event for them to celebrate not only the repayment, but also the 20th year anniversary for CMB Regional Centers. Here's a photo of a few photos that we have from the event. There's our founder and CEO, Mr. Patrick Hogan, our president, Craig Schwagen, some of these investors that have succeeded through the EB5 program, our vice president of the Asia market, Mr. Kai Boyle, and this is the event. And we're going to play a little video from the event. It's neat. And this is what's special about CMB and the repayment of capital for these investors. So please take a look.
Welcome, all our guests, our employees, project developers, our very successful clients who have achieved their goals, as well as friends and family. Tonight is a celebration of the CMB EB5 program.
You can make your American dream come true. And we've actually gone full circle now. 2 weeks ago, we became US citizens. I can't speak more highly of the organization CMB, yes.
You know, we're here today because each and every one of you trusted and believed in CMB, that we would help you and your families achieve the goals of immigrating to the United States.
And you guys are actually the history of EB5. You're not just the history of CMB. You actually joined an EB5 partnership when very few people had ever done that before.
So obviously we love our country. We're from Italy, but as far as living, we're very happy where we are. So the opportunity that we had through the EB5 program has been possible for us because of CMB and all the great people that work there. If I were to give a piece of advice to anybody, the focus should always be the choice of the regional center.
You got to understand all this. It's not
live the American dream. Luckily enough, I found EB5.
Not a joke. To prove how.
And more importantly, CMB, who we put our trust in, put our investment in. Not only have we received our repayment back, but we now live a life for our family, for our 2 girls, I think we could only ever have dreamed of having prior to coming here.
The real joy that Pat and I and everybody at CMB feels is what you've been able to accomplish since you've come here. It evokes an unbelievable amount of emotion in both Pat and I. Not only have you made investments into the United States economy through work that was done at the IVDA and work that was done at McClellan Business Park, but the sheer fact that you've come here. Some of you have started businesses here in the United States and you've created other jobs.
When you talk about job creation, we have between 25 and 30 staff. We also started an Irish music festival, which is now the biggest Irish music festival on the West Coast. We take 10,000 people to it. It's called Get Shamrocked, funny enough.
So I started my own travel company here in Southern California. We're now 6 years in business.
Because CMB gave me this opportunity to come to US, come to California. Now I'm a company work for YouTube directly. We are a media educational company.
What you hear about CMB is all true. It was absolutely flawless. As you can tell by my accent, I'm from the north of England, and we're just straight down the middle when we speak, what we do. And with CMB, it did everything it said on the tin. We've just totally made the right decision.
There's sort of those families that we think about. There's that family within CMB. There's that family of clients. You're among that CMB family. There's the family of developers that when you think about how lives have been changed, how you guys have actually changed lives here. I mean, both Mike and Frank can testify to the fact that regions were suffering prior to each one of you making an investment into CMB that allowed San Bernardino, or a portion of San Bernardino, to be transformed. How McClellan Park was able to be transformed in that region.
Those 10,786 jobs at Alliance, California, and our airport now, what you all have helped to create, now produce over $1.89 billion of economic output for a very, very needy region. And to that, I can thank all of you.
There's thousands of people that owe you an unbelievable debt of gratitude.
My toast is to you, the immigrant investor who gave up everything in their home country and moved here with unbelievable courage and unbelievable faith in somebody they didn't know, but a dream that they did want. So you're the ones that we are toasting. Thank you, and the government should have paid you to come here as many jobs as you created. So, toast to you. Cheers. Thank you.
I had the luxury of interviewing 5 to, I think, 10 different families that were there, one-on-one interviews. And not only were we able, you meet with these individuals before they decide to go to CMB and invest, and they talk about their American dream, and they talk about why they do it. They don't just do it for themselves. A lot of them, their careers already happened. They're at of age where they don't necessarily care to move to a foreign country. They do it for their children, their education purposes. And you always hear that, and you never know, okay, well, what happens when they actually do get there? But interviewing those individuals at this event, I got to talk to these families, and their kids were going to school, their kids were going to college, their kids were staying after college, and you heard it here. Some of these different individuals were able to create jobs, not only with their investment, but when they came here to the United States, they created businesses. There was one individual that is driving Uber because he wants to learn more and more English as he's there at the United States. So it was a really special moment for me and for everybody here at CMB to meet these families as they've came around full circle. Here's a photo of our, as you saw in the video, Mr. Patrick Hogan, our founder and CEO. He has over 23 years of EB5 industry experience. He's one of the most knowledgeable in the EB5 industry. Many of the practices that he brought to the industry are now standard practice to the whole EB5 industry. Our Craig Schwagen, our president, he's been with the company since I think we had 40 EB5 participants, and now we have over 5,000. These are the states that we operate. This is our headquarters here. We're located here in Rock Island, Illinois, about 2.5 hours west of Chicago. But we've done a lot of business here in California and Texas and all over the United States, and we continue to grow in different markets. This is our headquarter buildings, and I put this up there so you can just kind of see that we're a real company. We're not just a small company. We have 50 different individuals that work for CMB in-house. This is actually the window I look out every day. I park right around here. But this is where we go Monday through Friday. Every day we're there. Here's an entire photo of, it's a little outdated, it's a couple years old, but a photo of our staff. Of the 50 individuals that make up CMB, we have 4 in-house attorneys, 4 economists, I think 15 different case managers. I know we speak around 15 different languages. We put our flyers and brochures in, I think, about 12 different languages. But these are some of the innovations that Mr. Hogan brought to the EB5 world. We were one of the first to utilize the loan model, and we'll get into that in a little bit. We were the first to rely only on indirect and induced jobs. And what that is, if we back up a little bit, the EB5 program focuses on the creation of jobs. And if you create jobs, you receive a green card, and that's the whole idea of the program. You invest money, the money stays at risk, the jobs are created, and then you're able to move forward. Here's one of the newest innovations that CMB has brought to the table. In 2014, Mr. Hogan and CMB decided to, he always says, make us prove it. Make whoever you're talking to in this industry prove it. Us, every other regional center you talk to, he always says, make them prove it. So this was a way for us to make them prove it. From the beginning, our very first partnership to 2014, Mr. Hogan audited every financial of CMB. Not only every financial, but every EB5 statistics. And in 2014, every penny was in place. And after that, we've audited every year, and I think they're just wrapping up to the 2016 audit now. And this is available to every limited partner that chooses CMB to see our track record. Here's a little snapshot. As I mentioned earlier, every project we have had at the I-526 and IA-29, it's had a 100% success rate at the project approval. We estimated around 143,000 new jobs projected to be created in our partnerships. And those are just the indirect and induced jobs. You know, many of our partnerships have created big companies that employ direct thousands of jobs. So we like to think that we've brought many more than 143,000. We've had over 5,000 EB5 participants. We just hit over the 800 mark at the IA-29 approval, and that should be ramping up in the next year or so, more and more. But that's the permanent green card approval. We've done over 62 EB5 partnerships. So in CMB's opinion, it's a job creation program. You create the jobs, the money is invested, you create the jobs, you get your goal, the permanent green card. So as I mentioned, the loan model, CMB focuses on the loan model. We were the first, if not one of the first, to create the loan model. And what the loan model allows, the lending is directly compared, you know, we lend a certain amount of money to the project, and that creates indirect and induced jobs. And what that is, jobs are created when money is spent. So we have a nice buffer to make the conservative approach that CMB continues to do, that they've done the last 62 partnerships. There's a defined exit strategy. When will you get your money back? That's a big, important goal for each EB5 participant. It's a loan. The loan is due from the developer or the borrower at the loan maturity date. So that's another, I like to think, positive to the loan model. We only partner with developers that have a strong track record, and we'll get into some of those partnerships that we've had over the years, and also strong collateral. Many of our partnerships have completion guarantees. We know that, you know, the good likelihood that the project will be completed, and that means the jobs will be created, and that means the goals of every EB5 participant, everybody in this room looking to invest in the United States will get their goal. Here's the basic structure of an EB5 partnership. So here we have each investor limited partner that invests into a new commercial enterprise. That new commercial enterprise is a limited partnership. CMB operates as the general partner. And what we do is we operate the day-to-day, manage the limited partnership. And the business of the new commercial enterprise or limited partnership is to act as a lender to a borrower. And as I mentioned earlier, it's a 6-year term, and the money is due at the end of the maturity date. So past projects, we've done over $250 million in alternative energy. We've done a high-end luxury investment or a high-end luxury residential development. And to note here, this is the $1 million investment. This was the higher threshold. But you can see that the types of projects might change, but the conservative, the backbone conservative model of CMB that we've done over 62 partnerships all stay the same. A little water park in Great Wolf Lodge. A few more projects. This here was our Group 8 project that just received I-829 approval. It was our first partnership with the Hillwood entity as a borrower, and that actually became an Amazon Industrial Logistics Center. This was our Group 48 Century Plaza that it was in 2015. We raised over $450 million, so it was around 900. It was 900 investors. That's in Century Plaza in Los Angeles. This is our Group 16 partnership, our Great Wolf Lodge. Construction is 100% complete. And as I mentioned, the partnerships that we continue to work with. This is Woodridge Capital, which was our Group 48. These are the other partnerships we have with them. We continue to work with partners that again, with strong collateral and a proven track record of successful developments. Hillwood. So Hillwood, over the years, we've done 23 partnerships with. 17 of those partnerships have already received the I-526 and I-924 approvals. As I mentioned, the Group 8 was our first I-829 approval with the Hillwood entity. We have a current project now that's with with Hillwood. So we'll talk briefly so you understand how it all works. This is our Group 65. This is our current project that's open for subscription. We just opened it up. It's a multifamily development in Dallas, Texas. It's in a community called Deep Ellum, and it's right around uptown Dallas, downtown Dallas, and you can see all the 150,000 cars daily drive through this area. Very up-and-coming, popular area down in Dallas. And to talk briefly, here's the capital stack of the partnership of the project. So total construction spending is $59.3 million. Of that $59 million, we're $15 million of that capital stack, with $10 million developer equity and $33 million as a senior construction loan. And why that's important is if we back up a little bit when I talk about indirect and induced jobs, the jobs are created when the money's spent. So we're just a small portion of this capital stack. We're able to utilize all the spending in this project. So we give us a nice little buffer of about 3.67 jobs more than we need to have a successful investment, which is a nice buffer in the EB5 world. And horizontal construction is already underway. So here's our Group 64 project. This project is just wrapping up. We have about 9 spots left, but it's with Hillwood. And if you don't know what Hillwood is, it's a company ran by their chairman, Ross Perot Jr. The Perot family is a well-known family in the United States of America. So this here is EB5 loan funds is $49 million. The total construction is $320 million here. The developer and tenant equity is $162 million. The job buffer here is about 4.18 extra. This is the development of 2 different industrial facilities. One actually has a lease signed with a tenant. So again, you meet different regional centers and they pool the funds, and the construction isn't starting for years to come or months to come. This construction is already happening. There's a tenant signed for one of these buildings already. So we continue to CMB's conservative model over the years that has allowed us success to date. And if you have any questions, please come see us at booth 29. We'll be here both days to answer any questions you'd like. Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you. Now I'm presenting our next speaker, Jamila Kirwan from Antigua and Bermuda Citizenship by Investment Unit. Please.
At the heart of the Caribbean, cushioned by white sandy shores and surrounded by pure crystalline waters, a secret paradise awaits you. Join us on a journey through this enchanting paradise. A twin island jewel where world-class hospitality comes with boundless natural beauty. Discover the Caribbean's best hidden treasure. Dive in and discover Antigua and Barbuda. Enjoy the spectacular landscape as it unfolds before you from high above the warm Caribbean Sea. Gentle rolling limestone hills covered with lush acacias and mahogany lead down to coves and lagoons and onto 365 beautiful beaches. A different beach for every day of the year. Barbuda is an eco-lover's paradise where long, pink and sandy white beaches are protected by impressive barrier reefs, keeping you as secluded and untouched as the island's beauty. Just as Antigua and Barbuda's beauty will capture your imagination, its history will also enthrall you. From early natives through Christopher Columbus and recent British influence, these islands are a truly unique place where past and present meet harmoniously at every corner. Cliff-top forts and 18th century harbours to plantations and historic windmills, Antigua's rich history as a gateway to the West Indies is only part of its allure. Antigua and Barbuda offer everything the discerning traveller may need. Well acclaimed as a top choice for special family holidays, romantic getaways, weddings and honeymoons, the wide variety of accommodation and amenities are first class. From secluded and private villas and beautifully appointed hotels to shorefront restaurants, fine dining and luxurious spas. Everything you need is there to feel relaxed and pampered. Antigua's capital city, St. John's, is charming and traditional, bustling with life, warm and welcoming. This traditional West Indian city is a popular hub for shopping and dining. St. John's is also home to the citadel of a Caribbean passion, the Sir Vivian Richards Cricket Ground. While across the island, at the historic English harbour, sailing fanatics from all over the world descend on Antigua to take part in the world-famous Antigua Sailing Week. Well known for its annual carnival, Antigua and Barbuda is also home to a vibrant music scene. Come discover Antigua and Barbuda, where the beach is just the beginning.
I hope you enjoyed that. Good morning to everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, a warm sunshine greeting from my beautiful Twin Island state of Antigua and Barbuda, the gem of the Caribbean. It is my pleasure to be here today, and I am delighted to share the good news that Antigua and Barbuda is open for business. Many of you would have seen the distressing images of hurricane destruction in the Caribbean region, and more specifically in our case on our sister island of Barbuda. But the government of Antigua and Barbuda, under the capable leadership of Prime Minister the Honorable Gaston Brown, has manfully undertaken the task of mobilizing domestic and international resources to restore Barbuda to its former pristine glory. We therefore intend, with the assistance of our new citizens, international partners, and funds from our citizenship by investment inflows, to rebuild this little bit of paradise. However, while this is progressing, we are also implementing projects and programs on Antigua so that it can maximize its already established reputation as a desirable area to reside as well as to do business. Antigua, the larger and more populous of the Twin Island nation, was not adversely affected by the passing of Category 5, a monster storm, Hurricane Irma, and was open for business literally the next day. 95% of Antigua and Barbuda's tourism, infrastructure, and investment opportunities are on Antigua. Ladies and gentlemen, our participation in this very prestigious event is testament to our awareness that wealth growth in many countries has fueled the demand for investment abroad in luxury properties, and we are keen to grasp this opportunity afforded by this conference to make contacts with some of the world's leading market players and prospective partners. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe it is important to share with you the genesis of my country's citizenship by investment program. The 2008 global economic crisis had a severe impact on Antigua and Barbuda's economy, and especially the tourism sector, the main driver of our economy. The reduced disposable income of the citizens from our source markets meant less visitors to the Twin Island state. And in the face of the resulting decline in economic activity, the government considered different options to jumpstart the economy. The CIP was considered the most effective way to generate renewed interest in the real estate market and spur investment in the general economy. The realities of our small island developing states without any natural resources, faced with ever difficult fiscal conditions, and an international community that has significantly reduced its aid to these economies, means that governments must be creative in their approach to maintaining and growing their individual economies. In fact, the CIP has been termed as the metaphorical oil fields of small nations like Antigua and Barbuda, and that lack revenues from natural resources, which can be utilized to fund development. The benefits of citizenship by investment for economic citizens are fairly well documented, from enjoying visa-free travel to hundreds of countries across the world, to opening doors to higher education and safer future for one's children, in addition to tax planning and wider business flexibility. The popularity of these programs among high net worth individuals is recognized proof of their value. We in Antigua and Barbuda are already positioning ourselves to take advantage with a number of new tourism-related and other related real estate developments on the cards at various locations, some of which are geared to the high-end market. Also, efforts are ongoing to attract investment to redevelop some existing hotel plants. Additionally, the economic boost derived from our CIP has allowed for environmentally responsible projects, such as solar energy and reverse osmosis, to be developed. Now close your eyes and imagine, I know you saw the video already, 365 turquoise, powder white sand beaches, one for every day of the year. That's our story and we're sticking to it. adventure sports, and an internationally hailed sailing regatta each year, Antigua and Barbuda is highly sought after as a year-round holiday and honeymoon destination. Real estate investments hold their value and are considered amongst the most sustainable investments in the Eastern Caribbean. Ladies and gentlemen, I will now outline to you the options under the Antigua and Barbuda CIP, as well as why we're considered the top 3 reasons for choosing Antigua and Barbuda as a second nationality. The first option is the contribution to the National Development Fund, that is the NDF, which as at November 1st will be reduced to $100,000 that's the contribution. The second option is investment in a designated, officially approved real estate with a value of at least $400,000. And the third option, an individual investment in an approved business of at least $1.5 million, or at least 2 persons proposing to make a joint investment in an approved business totaling at least $5 million, and each of those persons individually contribute at least $400,000 in this joint investment. One of the #1 reasons why we are the top reason for second nationality is visa-free access to the most sought-after countries. Mobility is priceless. The Antiguan and Barbudan passport is considered among the top 25 globally mobile passports in the world, allowing visa-free travel to over 130 countries, including the UK, Schengen Zone, Hong Kong, and Singapore. Secondly, we are an internationally respected program. A very strong, multi-tiered due diligence process ensures that the program is trusted and respected globally. The program does not consider applicants from countries on the restricted countries list unless they live outside of their country of nationality and have permanent residency status in Canada, the UK, the United States of America. Applicants are thoroughly scrutinized, and economic citizens have to visit Antigua and Barbuda for 5 days within 5 years of gaining a passport to secure permanent citizenship, and I don't think that's a very hard thing to do. And finally, a solid and growing economy. Antigua and Barbuda is developing a reputation, as our Prime Minister, the Honorable Gaston Brown, coins it, as the economic powerhouse of the Eastern Caribbean. The Twin Island nation is home to the most modern and well-connected airport in the region, the V.C. Bird International Airport, which enjoys direct flights to Europe, the Americas, the UK, while serving as a key regional hub for regional flights. Tourism, as I mentioned before, is the key driver of our economy, and CIP-funded real estate projects are helping to build an internationally competitive tourism sector. The real estate component of our program facilitates the development of high-end luxury lifestyle properties. The attraction of the real estate option under the CIP is made manifest by the significant investment capital which the new citizens have chosen as a sustainable wealth-creating tool. The contribution of the real estate option and associated multiplier effect in particular has been seen as an important change agent for the economies of small island developing states. And some of the most striking impacts are large spikes in construction growth and associated impact on local business, such as heavy machinery providers, liquidity in the total commercial banking system, employment growth, added revenue streams through duties and taxes on certain imported supplies and goods, such as lumber, cement, and other aggregates, increase in hotel room supply, which would result in greater interest in airlift to the country, greater tourism inflows, and associated tax and spending benefits. Greater demand and improvement in the quality of and diversity of required services, helping to wean nations off international aid. In only 4 years, the Antigua and Barbuda program has grown in leaps and bounds As at June 2017, the Citizenship by Investment Unit, the CIU, processed over 1,100 applications, resulting in more than 2,500 citizenships being granted and over $350,000 flowing into the economy. Socially, it is expected as a result of the program that the economic fortunes of normal Antiguans and Barbudans will improve. Looking to the future, we anticipate that the revenue flows from CIP will assist in fostering cottage industries such as agro-processing, improving our agricultural sector, and supporting the creation of new industries. This will ensure diversification of the economy. Ladies and gentlemen, the administration of Prime Minister, the Honorable Gaston Brown, is critically aware of the vital importance of the CIP to the economy of Antigua and Barbuda. It is therefore imperative for us to be creative and responsive to market demands in order to maintain our competitive advantage. In light of this fact, we have recently temporarily reduced processing fees, as well as the contribution to the National Development Fund component, which I mentioned just a while ago, for 1 year, that $100,000. This, we feel, will allow us to obtain the much-needed funds to assist with the Barbuda rebuilding process, which is estimated at $200 million. We are indeed grateful to our new economic citizens, industry partners, and the international community for every assistance, no matter how small, rendered thus far regarding our Barbuda relief. As I take my leave, I invite you to visit the Antigua and Barbuda booth, number 2, right at the entrance at the Expo, and we have a small team of industry professionals who will only be too happy to assist you in gleaning more information on investment and real estate opportunities. A most successful and enjoyable conference and Expo experience is wished to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Let me present our next speaker, His Excellency Dr. Kevin Isaac from St. Kitts and Nevis.
Pleasant good morning. I'm afraid I'm here in borrowed robes today. The Prime Minister was due to come to address you and had to withdraw due to demands at home. So I'm going to read his presentation as if he were reading it to you today. Special guests, ladies and gentlemen, I'm delighted to be here today with you in Cannes at what can undoubtedly be described a platinum standard event. I come to you from St. Kitts and Nevis to speak about another platinum standard, the platinum standard of citizenship by investment. It is not a phrase to be taken lightly, as it reflects the demanding yet necessary journey we have taken to emerge as a country which offers a product rooted in strength and integrity. Ladies and gentlemen, if I may, I would like to ask you to cast your minds back to 1994, when the economic citizenship industry was born. For an investment in the future of a twin island nation, one could become a citizen of that country. The development and evolution of this model came at a time when the world was less globally connected. There were no high-speed internet. International travel was costly and more time-intensive and sometimes difficult. And communication with all others around the world was not as instantaneous a process as it is today. 1984 was where it all began for citizenship by investment, and it began in the twin island nation of St. Kitts and Nevis. As Prime Minister of this beautiful federation, and it is indeed a true paradise, I am humbled to speak to you about our offering, because it is one that has stood the test of time. For us, adopting such a revolutionary framework was not easy for the government of the time. But we realized with creativity and forward thinking, we were at the forefront of this decision-making process. Over the years, the Citizenship by Investment program has seen myriad challenges, but I strongly believe that such is the organic growth for any worthwhile product. This is a concept that the best houses for internationally renowned cheeses and wines in France understand well. Success requires commitment and hard work. Like our program, we have not achieved the platinum standard status overnight. We have evolved, gone through challenges and changes to become what we are today. Our forward-thinking approach to the economic citizenship industry has held us in good stead, and it continues to do so. I am pleased to share that even by conservative estimates delivered from the IMF a few months ago, we are experiencing year-on-year GDP growth at a rate that is the envy of many. Both islands of St. Kitts and Nevis are experiencing strong economic growth. We are set to reach the Eastern Caribbean currency debt to GDP ratio by 2018, 12 years ahead of schedule. I'm also pleased to share that the development of infrastructure as well as the service industry has led to historic growth in the islands. Our banking sector remains stable and the investor confidence is increasing. We are continuously developing and deepening our diplomatic relations with nations around the world, and our routes to trade remain strong. The global links are important elements of the Citizenship by Investment program, with mobility and freedom to travel as critical to this endeavor. Our Citizenship by Investment enables discerning investors with the requisite resources and an eye for quality and extraordinary opportunity to invest and to belong to a modern, growing nation, St. Kitts and Nevis. But I will tell you that well beyond the financial investments and the multiple opportunities for returns on investment is a unique opportunity to establish an enduring relationship with an independent, sovereign state which is quietly and quickly on the way to becoming one of the best small islands in which to live, work, and play. In St. Kitts and Nevis, the Team Unity government, which I have had the pleasure to lead, came to office on February 16, 2015, pledging to make our country the best place for investors. We agreed to work more effectively with private sector actors who are the real engines of economic growth. We pledged to protect private property to expand economic opportunities and freedom for all, including the employees who deserve to have a better chance at obtaining decent work. We remain committed to ensuring that St. Kitts and Nevis remains a low-tax regime and one of the countries which imposes no personal income tax or capital gains tax. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to assure you that our CBI program remains an important part of our national strategic plan for promoting economic resilience, people empowerment, and sustainable development. Our citizenship program is a core component of our future development, and therefore, we are committed to maintaining the platinum standard. Earlier this year, we received high praise from the world's most comprehensive study on the economic citizenship industry, the CBI Index, a special report issued by the Financial Times Magazine's Professional Wealth Program. We received perfect scores in many indicators, including the area of due diligence, a crucial element of our program through which we ensure that only individuals with the highest moral caliber, with an unassailable social and corporate track record, can be considered. Our vetting procedures are rigorous and robust. Therefore, our domestic constituencies and our international partners and friends can be assured that we are attracting investment that fulfills our ethos as a strong, stable, and secure nation. The CBI Index also ranked our CBI program best in terms of the timeline to citizenship and the ease of processing and application. And this we achieve without compromising our commitment to maintaining the highest standards of due diligence and efficiency. Given the vintage of our program, we simply know how to ask the right questions and to engage the right resources and to get the best outcome. We also know what our investors need. I know that some investors do not necessarily wish to have a face-to-face interview or to be restricted to certain residency requirements. For this reason, there are no obligations for potential applicants to come to the island during the application process, though, of course, we would encourage you to do so. Hence, the due diligence becomes an even more important component. It is paramount and must be robust and alive to changes around us. These are important features of our program that make it a sophisticated offering. We understand the needs of our clients, the demands of their work and business, and the importance of securing good opportunities and lifestyle. We also offered an accelerated application process whereby an investor and his or her family can be guaranteed citizenship in 60 days or less. This is a feature only the St. Kitts and Nevis Citizenship by Investment Program offers, and it is these kinds of added benefits that set us apart from other programs. I say without boasting, only because it bears repeating, that St. Kitts and Nevis is a pioneer of the citizenship by investment space. I am flattered and encouraged by the fact that virtually all other programs today have borrowed elements from our program. Indeed, you will find that the majority of strong and stable CBI programs are offered by small island nations in the Caribbean. It is no accident that these countries are also delivering services of integrity. I mentioned earlier that our Citizenship by Investment program emerged as an example of our government's strong foresight and vision for the country. Now, more than ever, this agile approach to governance is what nations require to remain viable in an unpredictable and increasingly introspective world. As I am sure you are aware, the Caribbean has not been without its challenges over the last few months. Hurricane Maria and Irma left a trail of devastation and destruction in their wake and brought to light the need for us to be better prepared for future catastrophic natural disasters and to use our creative mindset to ensure that stability and security remain a part of our nation's development landscape. Last month, we launched the Hurricane Relief Fund, a temporary investment contribution module to our Citizenship by Investment program, thereby allowing new investors to play an integral role in securing our country's future. There's a lot at stake, and when you think of a paradise, you can picture our federation. I am proud to say that we have always been the forerunners in this industry, and the Hurricane Relief Fund is an opportunity for us to continue to be a nation of improvement, development, and above all, economic agility. The Hurricane Relief Fund is temporary, as I've said, with all contributions going directly towards preparing for future adverse weather events and to repairing recent damage to infrastructure. Investors are invited to contribute $150,000, and in exchange, that is US dollars, sorry, and in exchange we provide a single applicant and up to 3 dependents citizenship of our country. This offer ends on March 30th, 2018. We hope that with your help, we will be able to support our fellow neighboring countries who too have been affected by severe hurricane. All of the same unique benefits apply to this contribution. We will continue to offer the same platinum standard, the same environment that is conducive to starting a business, the same wealth mechanisms for diversification, the same opportunities for simple and expansive travel, the same streamlined accelerated application process should you wish to expedite your application, the same tax benefits, and most importantly, the same robust security that comes with a firm attitude towards due diligence. One hardly sees new investment opportunities where a reduced fee means the same high-quality product, but I'm pleased to say that this is one of those rare moments. But rest assured that we will not compromise on quality. This approach is born of a history of commitment to quality, thinking ahead, and preparing for the unpredictable. I do believe, ladies and gentlemen, that there are parallels to the headspace and mindset of a discerning applicant. The savvy and sophisticated investor is always thinking ahead and planning for their next move in anticipation of what the future may or may not hold. As Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, my job is to lead with vision and forward thinking, prepared for the unexpected. Those who seek our citizenship by investment, I believe, also share that mindset. The Hurricane Relief Fund was developed through this kind of thinking. Like other nations, we too must remain agile in the face of change and uncertainty. It is said that no man is an island, and as Prime Minister of 2 islands, I understand this better than most. Therefore, we work hard to carve out our space, but we do so responsibly and with a full awareness of our role in a community of nations in a global world fraught with uncertainty. Over the years, because of the program's success, and indeed the way it has been woven into the economic fabric of our country, citizenship by investment has played an increasingly important role in the efforts to modernize St. Kitts and Nevis. The government's contributions delivered by the program now account for nearly 42% of the country's revenue. For us, it is an important socio-economic vehicle, and we welcome the savvy investor to be a part of our future development. CBI program is a critical tool in helping us to advance our national, social, and economic development, especially now that traditional sources of finance and access to international loans and grants are on decline. As part of our strategy for modernizing our economy, extending opportunities for all, and making our development more sustainable and resilient, we have successfully diversified away from a previous 360-year-old dependence on sugar production. Our economy now boasts new opportunities in tourism, financial services, manufacturing, commercial agriculture, renewable energy, and miscellaneous small sectors. In the same way that St. Kitts and Nevis is preparing for a bright and sustainable future, so too is the truly discerning applicant for the Citizenship by Investment program. I consider it a win-win scenario and a mutually beneficial model that binds us and strengthens our country. We welcome economic citizens to partake in the promising times ahead and look forward to providing new and previously unexplored opportunities. Not all of us are born into stable societies, but our program provides a product that reaps rewards for individuals and their families around the world and empower our local communities. There's a lot at stake, ladies and gentlemen, for a growing country. The events of the past month remind us all in the Caribbean that we must stand what we stand to lose and how we must engage in a robust but flexible concepts and policies that will ensure that ongoing preservation of our island is paramount. Knowing what is at stake raises the bar in everything we do. I believe that the Hurricane Relief Fund places some control back in the hands of the government and into yours as well as our partners and as stakeholders. As the longest standing CBI program, we have stood the test of time. We continue to provide a product of integrity and sophistication. We continue to provide the platinum standard of citizenship by investment because anything less is not good enough. But longevity is not assured without hard work and staying competitive and forward-looking, even for our citizenship by investment program as the forerunner of this industry. Our success demonstrates that we do not shy away from new and entrepreneurial opportunities. We have placed the CBI on a more stable and sustainable path, and we are looking to the future. We welcome you to be a part of a country which is progressive, focused, and committed to quality, integrity, mutual trust, and opportunities for all. I look forward to welcoming you as citizens and visitors to our beautiful Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. Come, make St. Kitts your home, and I thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you.
Applicants in as few as 45 days. The St. Kitts and Nevis Citizenship by Investment Program, established in 1984, is the oldest and most respected program of its kind in the world. Its passport privileges, with multiple countries added to its visa-free travel list every year, represents the gold standard. The country's reputation is stellar. It is part of the British Commonwealth, the head of state being the Queen of England, with a stable democracy based on the British parliamentary system. You and your family obtain a remarkable second citizenship for life with no need to reside in the country and, most importantly, no need to give up your current nationality. The Citizenship by Investment Unit, with its renowned professional and advisement team possessing over 30 years' experience, can now process applications in an efficient and expedited manner. St. Kitts and Nevis is also a prime tourism destination located in the Caribbean, 1,240 miles southeast of Miami, with direct flights from the USA and major European markets. Conveniently positioned for business and commerce, the official language is English, and its national currency is tied to the US dollar. The government of St. Kitts and Nevis places priority on e-government, quality of life, and ease of doing business. St. Kitts and Nevis ranks #1 in terms of real gross domestic product performance, with an economic growth rate over 5%. The IMF reports that macroeconomic conditions have been averaging about 6% annually, the strongest in the region by far. Boasting the most advanced fiber network and the highest digital literacy rates in the region, St. Kitts is an attractive option for business operations. Having signed a free trade agreement with Canada, there are no taxes paid for goods manufactured and exported to Canada. As a citizen of the Caribbean community, businesses are able to enjoy duty-free trading in 15 countries in the region. One of the most attractive features of St. Kitts and Nevis is that you're not liable for wealth, gift, inheritance, foreign income, or capital gains tax. When it comes to safety and security, this is without doubt the #1 priority, and all these benefits also apply to your wife, children, and elderly parents. Any number of dependent children below the age of 25 qualify for citizenship, which is a unique advantage over other programs that impose tight restrictions on age requirements. Most importantly, various universities with international accreditations are located in the country, with thousands of students attending from Canada and USA. With fantastic beaches, sea air, lush vegetation, spectacular scenery, rich West Indies culture, a friendly atmosphere, and safe environment, St. Kitts and Nevis makes a perfect home. The reputation of the St. Kitts and Nevis Citizenship by Investment Program is simply incomparable with other programs. In 2009, St. Kitts and Nevis signed a treaty with the European Union, and now citizens can travel freely to 125 countries worldwide, throughout Europe, and to all Scandinavian countries, visa-free. The government of St. Kitts and Nevis invests heavily in developing the Federation and has a fresh international outlook focused on infrastructure, renewable energy, education, and technology. Citizenship can be obtained via 2 simple avenues: property investment or contribution to the Sugar Industry Diversification Foundation. Take the first step now to secure your interactive guide to becoming a citizen of St. Kitts and Nevis. Live in abundance and travel freely with St. Kitts and Nevis citizenship.
Okay, so now I'm presenting you Mr. Rafael Miele, the founder and president of Investor Visa IT by JuiceWeb. Please welcome.
From Italy. It's important. Well, I wrote good evening, but I must correct. Good morning. My name is Raffaele Miele, and I am a former deputy police officer of the Italian State Police. Now I am a journalist, editor, and the founder of JuiceWeb SRL, a company in Italy. After me is Mr. Giovanni Paperini, who will end this presentation. JuiceWeb is a company located in Viterbo, the capital city of the Tuscia area in the northern part of the Lazio region. It operates through the periodical Immigrazione.it, online since 2005, concerning the fields of international law, national law, European law, focusing on the condition of foreigners living in Italy and the international mobility of the individual. The periodical has been chosen by the Italian Ministry of Interior as a tool for revision used by the border police and immigration officers. It also holds accredited training programs for professionals, such as notaries, lawyers, and journalists. JuiceWeb provides non-Italian citizens with advice and assistance regarding entry and residence in Italy. Among its services, it deals with web marketing and communication. 2 months ago, we launched InvestorVisa.it, a service to help non-EU investors in selecting the best investment or donation opportunities and managing all the bureaucratic procedures for both visas and residence permits. In fact, Italy now has its own program for offering the opportunity to non-EU investors to obtain an entry visa, a residence permit, and interesting fiscal advantages. These measures are established by the law number 232 of December 2016. The procedures for visa request are operative by the end of next November. Before talking about this concept and what sort of investments are allowed by law, let's briefly look at the procedures that a potential investor will have to follow in Italy. In particular, I would like to emphasize the procedures that will be used to verify the transparency of the money that will be invested. Pecunia non olet. Money does not smell. This is how the Roman Emperor Vespasiano expressed what he thought. However, after 2,000 years, the Italian government expects money to have the odor of transparency, which is to say legality. This is what is written in the new law concerning entry visa for investors. No fear. There are no blood tests or DNA tests required. First, let's look at Article 26 bis from the Immigration Consolidated Law. An investor who wishes to obtain an entry visa and incidentally citizenship is not given, but only visas and residence permits. An investor must present a declaration of the legal origin of funds in addition to other documents which are needed. Banca d'Italia has a money laundering prevention unit that will verify the information and then accept or reject the request within 15 days. At the same time, the Comitato, which is a committee belonging to the Ministry of Economic Development, made up of members from other ministries, Interior, Foreign Office, etc., will decide if the details of the operation chosen by the investor in terms of type and investment amount coincide with the law. These procedures shall take no more than 30 days. I think that's very, very important. Once a positive outcome of this phase is obtained, the investor will receive a nulla osta, which is a clearance for the issue of an entry visa for investors. This is done by the consulate or the visa section of an Italian embassy. The investor can request an appointment which will be fixed within 3 days and will have no waiting list. The same investor will have to show the consulate that he or she has the funds necessary for his or her stay in Italy. It's about 6,000 euros for a year. Once in Italy, a request for a residence permit must be made to the Questura, the police headquarters. At this point, the investor will have his residence permit, and with this document, he will be able to complete the investment. The investment must be concluded within 90 days, calculate from his entry into Italy. The investment will have to stay in place for at least 2 years. Otherwise, the visa and the residence permit will be revoked. Now, let's look at what kind of investment there are. First, real estate investment for residential or commercial use are to be excluded. The law specifies that investments can only be made in the capital of an already existing company in Italy, and therefore mostly as an entrance investment partner in a company, an Italian company. Money does not go into the pockets of the partners, but to increase company capital. How much is the investment? Minimum 1 million euro. If the company is a startup, the amount is reduced to 500,000 euros. Another opportunity for obtaining an investor entry visa lies with a donation. The minimum amount a patron will have to donate is 1 million euro. The procedures are the same, but obviously the requisites are different. In this case, Italy is not only addressing investors, but generous patrons who, in addition to obtain an entry visa, want to preserve and enhance one of the most important parts of world culture heritage, receiving wide visibility on an international level. Let's have a closer look where donation can be made. The law specifies that donations must be made towards projects and initiatives in the fields of culture, education, immigration management, scientific research, restoration of cultural heritage and landscape. Projects and initiatives must have a public interest, but therefore a project proposal can be from a private or public entity. What is what we do? We started working on this project in January, just after Law 232 was approved. We set up a study group and a work group with people from our Emigration.it magazine staff and with our closest collaborators from training notaries, lawyers, and journalists. This is how we got the idea to make a new department called InvestorVisa.it. The website has the same name, is all in English, not in my English, and has been online since August. Complete information is also available in French, Arabic, Chinese, Russian, Japanese, Spanish. Non-EU citizen investors and patrons will find an all-inclusive packet of services, which, I said before, will be operative as soon as November. The initial phase involves gathering requests for investments and donations from companies and public offices. We examined these closely to make sure that they fulfill what is required by law and that the nature of the operation can be interesting for a potential investor or patron. In addition to investments and the related service, our website gives news, articles dealing with technical and legal information in the section Legal Issues and Interviews. The last is to Mr. Guido George Lombardi, Italian-American investor in New York. It's very interesting. In parallel to the website, there is the magazine Investor Visa Italy, in both hard copy and digital format, that will be presented on the 5th of December in Rome. This will be included in the roundtable convention that we organize with the Union of the Honorary Consulates in Italy at the Stampa Estera, which is the foreign press center in Italy. Back to the website, there are proposals already online that investors and patrons can look into and evaluate. Once the investor or the donor has made his choice, we can put him in contact with the company, or if a donation, with the project director, so he can conduct all the aspects of the financial operation. Upon arranging the preliminary agreement, we can assist the investor or the donor in requesting an entry visa. Once he has obtained the investor visa, he can enter Italy, and the residence permit may be required through our service. After the residence permit has been issued, the investor or patron can proceed to finalize the transaction by written form agreement legalized by a notary. In particular, in the case of donation, if the donor does not have a notary of his choice, we can refer notaries based on their experience and knowledge of transnational operations, one for each region in Italy. A notary deed is a fundamental document that shows that all conditions required by the law have been satisfied. Finally, I will give you two more investment opportunities. The first consists of investing at least 2 million euros in Italian government bonds. In this case, the investor will have to contact a banker and possibly rely on us for visa and residence permit procedures. Visa for self-employment business owners is another opportunity for entrepreneurs who want to start a business in Italy. This topic will now be addressed by Mr. Giovanni Paperini. Mr. Paperini has been in the immigration field for more than 30 years. He is our partner in InvestorVisa.it program. Thank you for your attention. I remain available to answer your questions at box 25. Now, Mr. Paperini. Ecco.
Thank you. Okay. My name is Giovanni Paperini. I am a partner for Investor Visa organization relating visa for investor in Italy. In my relation now, I speak about the possibility for obtain a visa for normal investor, for investor owner from activity in Italy, start a new activity in Italy. The law is, excuse me, because, allora, this is a checklist about the false self-employment for the general condition governing the entrance sojourn of no EC national investor in Italy. One moment. Allora, the first is normal, as in every country. You need to prepare a visa application form. It's specific for Italy and consists in one indication of every question, every relation people ask for visa, with a history of people, the necessity, the interest in Italy, and general information about investment. But this is only a formality, because before to prepare this form, we need to obtain many documents in Italy and abroad. The photo is very important for passport, because the same question relating passport, also for visa, we need a photo with a specific characteristic. Okay. We need attention because the passport is not expired for next 3 months after departure, and not issued less than 10 years before the present they ask for visa. And we need 2 copies of the page for the original and 2 copies of the page with signature. Ticket booking relating to demonstrate the possibility to itinerary when entry in Italy. Nulla osta. Allora, this is a very important document relating before obtain visa in Italy for self-employment. We need a specific documents relating in Italian is nulla osta, no impediment, and to obtain these documents you need to demonstrate your security, for your no problem with security in Italy. And Questura, police departments, check your the history from person entry in Italy, and after this check you can obtain these documents. These documents is possible obtainment, but before you need another type of documents. Allora, not for police, but directly for Italian consulate abroad, you need to prepare a business plan, must include an investment of at least 500,000 euro. And this sum is provided directly from visa applicant, how financial, not for other, for debts, etc. And it's very important to demonstrate legally earned of this sum, to avoid problem relating criminality. It's very important for avoid this type of problem, to demonstrate history from your history, your business history, and to avoid any problem relating foreign, Italian and foreign authorities. Another question very important relating this type of visa is to demonstrate to create the possibility to create at least 3 new jobs in Italy. It's very important because it's a condition for the obtainment of this type of visa. Allora, repeatedly, allora, for business plan, you need to very important, the basis from this type of visa is a good business plan. Allora, proof of accommodation. Another document very important for obtaining this type of visa is proof of suitable accommodation. We are very possibility to demonstrate proof of accommodation. one purchase contract or rental contract of one auto-declaration, self-declaration, or accommodation, one declaration for a friend or another person, in Italian or foreign citizen legally resident in Italy, to demonstrate the accommodation. The declaration is for a new accommodation of these people in Italy. This is very important, but is very easy because it's sufficient when a self-declaration. Allora. Another document important for necessary for obtain this type of visa is certification of availability of all need financial means to implement the intended business. It's different from the planned investment of 500,000 euro. It's two different questions. Allora, in business plan, you decide, you demonstrate to have this money, 500,000 euro, and in these other documents, you demonstrate, obtain in Italy the amount of minimum 17,000 euro, and to demonstrate the possibility to start immediately business. It's not two different questions. It's 500,000 is a general plan for investment in future. 17 directly for start the first question relating business, the first step. It's necessary to demonstrate this and ask these documents, this declaration from Italian Chamber of Commerce, where, for example, Rome, Milan, etc., in every city where this Chamber of Commerce, you need this declaration. And Chamber of Commerce prepare this declaration in the basis or business. In general, minimum is 17, but in some occasion it's possible high sum, because depends the type of work. Allora, another documents needs is the proof of income you have obtained last year before entering Italy in your country of origin. This is very little respect investment because it's only 8,000 euro. It's a little sum, but is for demonstrate the capacity from employer. It's not really is curious because is very little respect 500,000. It's only a formality. Okay. Some Italian consulate can ask for other type of documents. Depends the consulate. It's not easy to prepare one fully listing because every consulate can ask for different type of documents. For example, many ask for insurance for travel or proof from solvency of applicant. But it depends from consulate to consulate. But generally, it's a little type of document, formality, some formality. The very important in this case, to demonstrate a very good business plan and to demonstrate to have this money, 500,000 euro, and very important to demonstrate the interest for nationality Italian economy for this type of investment. For example, there is not necessary open for it's very important this moment in Italy, for example, to employ person. Allora, if this investment demonstrates the possibility to obtain a long time employment for minimum 3 person, it's very good for Italian authority. In general, is not problem for obtain this type of visa. So, do you have some question relating this checklist? No? Okay, I finish my presentation. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. It was Giovanni Paperini, the investor visa partner and founder of Studio Paperini Relocation. And now I'm glad to present our next speakers from Alternative Capital Group. It's Alex Cote and Samuel Tessier. Please welcome.
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me well? Probably pretty close. Okay, great. So today we're going to talk about the Quebec Immigrant Investor Program and why it's the clear pathway to Canadian permanent residency for a high net worth investor. So we're going to ask an important question. Can we change slides? Oh, great. What is the distinct and seamless path to Quebec, Canada, for a high net worth investor? So what does that mean? I want to talk about distinct and seamless. There are many routes to Canadian permanent residency, but we believe that for a high net worth investor, they don't want ifs, ands, maybe, buts, or confusing processes to become Canadian. They're looking for something direct, they're looking for something simple, and they're willing to make an investment in order to receive that experience. So today we want to look at that. That's going to be the theme. What's the most distinct and seamless path to Canada for a high net worth investor? First, I'd like to cover who we are. So Alternative Capital Group is a merchant bank which is regulated by the Canadian security authorities in Canada. And basically we provide the following services to high net worth investors in Canada and across the world. First, private investors. So not only do we structure, but we issue and distribute bespoke financial instruments, which we exclusively craft at ACG, mostly in the alternative investment category. Afterwards, we have the corporate. So we have our corporate finance and M&A division, which specializes in special situations, which most of them are. And so we develop innovative and customized solutions to best fit the business needs of our client. Multi-family office. So we have an unparalleled family office service to successful individuals, successful business owners, and private individuals as well. Basically, we do portfolio management, but we have customized solutions for our clients. And offshore, we specialize in the Quebec Immigrant Investor Program, as we believe it's the most seamless and distinct path to Canadian permanent residency. Why the QIIP? So we believe there are 3 main reasons that helps the QIIP. There's a lot of jargon, so I'm sorry, I'm going to start using that from now on. Why is the QIP the simplest? Well, we believe there's three reasons. It's the simplest because, or it stands out, because it's the only active investment immigration program in Canada. Currently, there is a pilot project in place, but it's not very active. And so if you want to go to Canada, investment immigration for a high net worth investor is the best, as opposed to a traditional immigration route. Second, we believe why the QIP? Because it's a passive investment. That means that a third party is taking care of managing the funds, and there's no active investment needed. That means that it's problem-free. And the third is that the QIP is the most flexible. And again, I think we can say that for the atypical client who's a successful investor. They want something that can offer the most flexibility. Before we start detailing and talking more about that, we'd first like to cover the history of the program. So, 1986, taking you back a few years, Government of Canada and the Government of Quebec introduce a new immigrant investor program, and the purpose of this program is very simple. We're looking to attract successful business people, high-level, C-level management employees, to come to Canada and establish themselves. The investment at that time is $150,000 Canadian or $250,000 Canadian. And actually, it's an indirect investment. That means that a third party manages it, and the capital is at risk. So that means that there is a possible return, but there's a possible loss of your money as well. In 1996, due to the high demand, the government increases the investment. So that's the first increase. So to $250,000 Canadian and $350,000 Canadian. And the program also experiences something new. Quebec offers another option in 96, which is a $500,000 investment, but it's guaranteed by the state. So that means that the state of Quebec, credit rating of AA2, according to Moody's, guarantees the investment to the investor for a period of 3 years, and then restitutes the capital. So because it's guaranteed, no risk, no reward. So it's 0%. Second increase. So obviously, the program's very popular. And the guaranteed option is so popular that the federal government wants to follow Quebec and begins offering also this option. And so basically, they harmonize the programs. That means that it comes to a $400,000 term deposit investment with the state, either of Canada or Quebec. And you need $800,000 Canadian in order to qualify for the program, in order to be admissible. 2010, third increase. So obviously the program is very, very popular. Government's trying to bring down the level of applications. They can't follow the speed or the amount of them. And so the program increases to an $800,000 Canadian investment and a $1.6 million threshold in order to be admissible for the program. And in 2012, a moratorium. What that means is that the Government of Canada closed its program because of an important backlog. It was trying to process almost 60,000 applications on the federal level, and the Government of Canada could simply not meet that amount of applications. So after 2 years, the Government of Quebec does something interesting. The Government of Quebec imposes a quota in order to help process applications in a timely period. And so Quebec says, listen, we're willing to take 1,900 families each year through the program, and we're going to keep the same criteria of $800,000 Canadian, locked away for 5 years, fully guaranteed by the state. In 2015, the Canadian government tries to get creative and introduces a venture capital program, which is a pilot project. It's a $2 million investment, locked away for 15 years, where the capital is at risk. And you also need to get audited by a Big Five accounting firm. And you need a threshold of $10 million Canadian in order to be admissible. 7 people apply to this program. So today, Quebec upholds its criteria, as discussed earlier, and is the only active investment immigration program offered right now where the capital is guaranteed to the investor. What does the future hold? It's difficult for us to say. So We don't know where the program's going to go, and we don't have a crystal ball, obviously, but all indications show that in 2018, the program will remain the same in the summer of 2018. Currently, it's open. We still have spots left at ACG where we can place investor families. We hope to fulfill those in 2017 and begin our waiting list in the winter 2018. Now, I'm going to pass this over to my colleague Samuel, and we're going to have a look at the 3 reasons why we believe the QIP distincts itself.
Thank you. So, as Alex mentioned earlier, there's 3 main advantages for this program. The first one actually is the investment immigration versus traditional immigration. So as a first point, we distinct unconditional versus conditional immigration, which mean in context of conditional immigration, the principal applicant have to prove to the government that it will create a business in Canada, manage the business in Canada by creating new jobs, but mainly actively manage a business in Canada on a day-to-day basis. For that, actually, the government will provide a conditional permanent residency for the investor and his family in Canada. Meaning conditional mean that if the criteria are not fulfilled or the business is not successful, the government can withdraw the permanent residency from the family. So in the majority of those programs, physical work is required in Canada. For high net worth investors looking for an unconditional solution of immigration, which offer more flexibility in this program, the QIP offers a solution. So the investment is made through a financial intermediary in Quebec, which is called Investissement Québec, which is a government-owned company that acts as a catalyst for the Quebec economy. The partnership that Investissement Québec has formed functioned very well and proved its worth in 2016 by attracting more than 65 projects in the provinces, which attract more than 1.5 billion in investment in the provinces. So the result of this program is unconditional Canadian immigration, which provide the investor with permanent residency without the need to work in Canada. The point B is the certificate of selection versus provincial nominee program. So in many provinces and territory in Canada, the province are allowed to nominate investors that they feel that they can bring value in the province. But they can only nominate those investors. They cannot select them, which means that the authority remains on the federal government to proceed the application. In the case of Quebec, Quebec is special. There's a special accord between Canada and Quebec. That means that Quebec can select its own immigrants. So meaning that the burden to select the immigrant is on Quebec, which can attract an investor based on criteria that they feel are best for the provinces. So they have a greater control, and when you get selected, well, that means that you will be accepted to the federal stage and get a PR afterwards. The QIP criteria versus a comprehensive ranking system. Comprehensive ranking system is applied to all programs in Canada. It's a ranking system based on the age, level of education, experience of the investors that help them qualify for different programs. In the case of the QIP, the investment agreement with a financial intermediary plus the 2 years of management experience allowed them to get about 35 points out of the 40 needed. So which means, as an example, that if a principal applicant holds a high school diploma, he's qualified for the program, which made it very easy to qualify. So active versus passive investment. Alex talked earlier about the active management versus the passive management, passive investment in terms of the QIP. When we talk about active investment, obviously that means the capital is at risk for the investor in a new venture business in a foreign country, which can put a lot of risk in that business since many investors are not necessarily familiar with the Canadian economy. So by going through a passive investment like the QIP, that means that the term deposit is guaranteed by the government, managed by a third party, and will offer a passive investment problem-free solution for the investor, which do not have to worry about the capital. that make it a cookie-cutter product that can apply to many high-net-worth investor, and can create a repeat business easily for many businessmen, actually. And most entrepreneur program require management experience related to the business that they will create in Canada. In the term of the QIP, any management experience can be authorized, actually, and it's not related to the investment. So all those variables make it difficult in many active business to have a repeat deal. In the case of the QIP, it's pretty easy to repeat for different clients. And also Canadian institutions are involved in that transaction and offer a very interesting financing option for the term deposit, which make it even more attractive for the clients. And by working with Canadian banks, you work with one of the most sound banking system in the world that have been provided #1 for 9 years in a row by the World Economic Forum. Thirdly, we talk about the flexibility that offer the QIP. So it's a direct path to the permanent residency, meaning that it's flexible for a net worth investor. They don't have to be in Canada during the process, so they can wait until the Canada government provide them with a PR, so they can stay in their own country, work their day-to-day life until they receive the permanent residency card. Also, they only make the investment after the government approval, which make a lot of sense. But actually, in many investment programs, they ask you to make large deposit or complete investment prior to the acceptation of the government. In this case, it's not required. So the government body will give you an acceptance letter before you do the investment. And also the Quebec certificate selection give you a lot of flexibility when it comes to moving forward with the federal stage. So when you have been accepted in the program, you can hold on until 6 years to the Quebec certificate of selection before you move forward with the federal stage. This way you can secure your allocation in Canada without being subject to residency obligation or future change in the investor program. So you can hold a call option in the pocket until you're ready to move forward. So those 3 points make us think that the QIP is the most distinct and seamless path to become a permanent residency for a high net worth client. Now we'll cover those eligibility criteria. Actually, there's 2 of them. Have 2 years of management experience in the last 5 years prior to your application, and also have a net worth of 1.6 million, obviously obtained legally between the principal applicant and his spouse. Those can include real estate, bank account, private equity, and business asset. Then after, have intent to settle in Quebec and sign an agreement to invest $800,000 in the provinces. Right now, the Quebec government actually work on an allocation intake-based system, which means that if you work with the right partner, your spot is guaranteed in the program and you will get called for an interview or your file will be processed, which is very different if we compare it to a lottery, for example, process. So if you're submitting an application as an investor, you must sign an agreement with one of the financial intermediary, broker, or trust company that are listed on the government list. And currently, the industries break down as the pie chart behind me. Roughly 70% of the clientele come from the country where is the most demand, which is China, year over year. So we heard for every file sitting in the allocation system, there's about 6 waiting to get a place in China. So the demand is very high in China. This is one of the reasons ACG Offshore actually specialize in the other 30% non-Chinese investors. So right now we work in Algeria, Morocco, Tunisia, Senegal, Cameroon, Ivory Coast, Turkey, Iran, India, where we did many files, and all those countries actually can get allocation in the remaining 30% of the file, which is roughly 400 allocation a year. So obviously the main purpose of our trip here in Cannes is to integrate CIS country to our offering. So we travel regularly to meet those clients, so we want to add those clients on their traveling schedule. I will leave the last word to Alex to explain to you how we work with financial intermediary who are managing these allocations.
Thank you. Great. So we established that financial intermediaries have 1,900 spots to hand out. And how does it work? How do the spots given out to agents and mandatories? That's the case for ACG. Let me just cycle back here. So, well, I can start off by saying the proof is in the pudding. What that means is that financial intermediaries should really be considered as wholesalers, depending on who, or most of them in most cases. And basically they distribute allocations to agents who have had a track record. Basically people who've had success in the industry and have had files accepted. Because you see, the financial intermediaries are in the business of financing or raising capital. And that means that if our clients are not accepted, they can't invest and they can't do the cost of financing. And so what that means is that brokers in the quota system, all those quotas have as face value or certain value for intermediary. And so if they lose that cost of opportunity of a client that gets refused, they don't make money. And so they don't hand out allocations to people that have bad track records. And ACG has had a lot of success with many clients from different jurisdictions. And we believe this is more of an accounting-based process than a legal-based process. And maybe I can get into that later. But we believe that by having a few select clients, being able to present their file accordingly, especially the accounting side of it, the inflows and outflows of revenue, how much they've invested, how much they've spent, we believe we can get any client through the program. Obviously when everything is obtained legally. Let's look at the 7 simple steps, which is the process of how you obtain Canadian permanent residency. Obviously this is very simplified, but here we go. First step is to contact ACG and obviously reach out and open a file and complete a KYC, a Know Your Client, where we're going to look at the personal balance sheet of the investor and have a better understanding of his academic background. Second step, obviously you want to complete all documentation. So we talked about the investment agreement, power of attorney, mandatory, all necessary documents to submit your applications, which are essential with Quebec. Obviously provide all documents. So the application will require documents which show that you're a manager of at least 2 full-time employees, and documents that support that you not only meet the threshold, but that you legally obtained all your assets. And then we're going to submit your application to the MIDI, which is the Ministère de l'Immigration du Québec. Then there's a selection interview. So you'll be meeting in Montreal with an officer. All offices abroad are closed, so now all interviews are in Montreal. And so you're going to meet with an immigration officer and get a decision on your application. And once you get that decision, that's where you're making the investment. That's where the capital is deployed with a financial intermediary or Investissement Québec. And afterwards, you move to the federal stage. So the only thing left to do is a medical and security check. So you're selected, you're going to get the permanent residency subject to your medical and admissibility and your security admissibility. Once that's completed, you obtain the Canadian permanent residency. Right, so what does it mean to be a permanent resident in Canada? Permanent resident means that you and I would have the same rights and same benefits in Canada. So free healthcare, almost free education. For example, in Quebec, 90% of the cost of education is paid by the state. I mean, obviously you're going to be living in one of the safest places in the world. The only difference between permanent residency and citizenship is the right to vote and the passport. That's the only differences. Right now, Forbes says that Canada is the number 2 place of doing business in the world. And so Canada has extremely low corporate tax rates and probably one of the most advantageous to start a business. And as Samuel mentioned earlier, it's one of the soundest banking systems in the world. So Canada's banks rank in the top 10 consistently, with some of our banks having up to $900 billion of assets under management. Right. So why is ACG the best preferred mandatory for you and your application? Well, let's have a look. We focus on quality, not quantity. What does that mean? That means that we don't do any other immigration programs in Canada. We work exclusively with investment immigration programs and citizenship by investment programs. So we like to have a better quality of clients because of the other services that we offer. And we don't necessarily want a volume. That means that your application gets lots of love, lots of time, and lots of energy put into it to get an acceptation. You're going to work with full-service professionals. So we're a seamless solution. So we have already Quebec lawyers in our team. We have people that are accountants. We have bankers. We have people with backgrounds in business. And so you're able to get access to a lot of people in a boutique cabinet, which remains very flexible and can service or spend a lot of time with the clients. Obviously, Samuel and I are registered immigration consultants in Canada. So I would have to go and say that whenever you get advice in terms of immigration, it's very important to work with someone who's accredited to do so. So that's part of the Canadian Immigration Consultants, the ICCRC. It's important to work with those people. As I mentioned, we have a proven track record with financial intermediaries. So what that means is that we have preferred relationships and we're able to place your application with those intermediaries given the quality of the work that we do. Seamless process. So the fact that there's little layers, there's not 20 layers to get to the permanent residency. You don't have to work with a local office. We travel everywhere and meet our clients in person. We sit down in their offices. We speak with their accountants. We speak with their lawyers. It's basically a seamless solution. You don't have to work with 3-4 layers before talking to someone. All my clients have my mobile number. They can call me whenever they want, and I can address their questions immediately. Great. I think we're ready to open the floor for questions, if any. I'd like to thank you for your time this morning, or I guess now we're in the afternoon, and we'll open up for Q&A. If there's any questions, of course. It's multi? No? No questions? Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. It was Alex and Samuel Tissier from Alternative Capital Group. And now I'm announcing that we are doing a short break until 2 p.m. and we'll come back with the next presentation, next speaker. Thank you.